constantly
warp in zealots,
never
like
stopping.
as backup for your already immortal and Archon army. Like you've got so much meat out there.
Yeah, he had so much money, so many gateways powered up. He just kept going. Well, we are finally in our second game. Our player up here at the top right, our red Protoss, it is Grubby. And his opponent down here at the bottom, formerly of the team Foyu, now Inori on TSL. Joined FX Open for a very brief period of time as well when they were merged together. But the only Protoss right now for TSL able to play. The second Protoss, Serrano, just not able to because of his injury. And again, I mentioned that before. It's kind of a tough matchup for Inori to practice for because he doesn't have a team member to practice for. But think about Grubby, he doesn't have a team. So, I mean, you could say the same thing of him as well.
He's Team Grubby, man.
He's Team Grubby. That's what he is.
So, in this situation, what... I mean, I could ask something about, what should Grubby do? But I want to know what Inori should do.
Yeah,
he won the first game relatively convincingly.
I think he's going to do an expansion build. That's what I would do. Maybe a Blink Stalker expand with, like, Blink Stalker Observer. It's a really good map for Blink Stalker Observer because you have so many different ways you can blink into the main base. There's a lot of surface area to get in.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of backstab potential. Yep, look at all that space you can blink in if Grubby moves out.
Well, really more like, yeah. You're not going to see too much like, Stalkers walking up the front of the ramp.
No, right, yeah. But all the other space there it's pretty easy to blink in. Good map for blink. The execution is important. We saw Oz do Blink Stalker Observer on this map in Inori's position. And Oz and Inori, of course, former teammates. They practice PvP together a lot still. It's important to keep your Observer alive. We saw Oz lose his Observer, then miss Micro a little bit in the final engagement when he was playing earlier on in his PvP. What will Grubby do, though? That is the question, because Grubby seems inclined to be going for, like, he went Phoenixes, for example. That's not normal. It got scouted due to Inori's, like, genius.
So I think that, last game, you remember how we talked a little bit about, like, why Grubby was just a little bit ahead on the probe. I mean, in this case, we're actually going to see Inori only slightly ahead. I think it was because he used an extra boost on his Nexus.
Yeah. That can also, of course, attribute to that as well as what we were mentioning last game.
Although, I mean, one boost adds up to almost like one extra probe, doesn't it, entirely? Yeah.
One boost lasts almost for 2 probes, so you get like one extra one out of it, essentially. You can see the second gas finishing up here now for Inori. Second gateway for Grubby, but not for Inori.
And Grubby, once again, a little bit further ahead on his gas. Now, last game we saw that Grubby went into that Stargate play, but Inori was able to see it because he hid that probe in such a clever location.
It's hard to want to go Stargate twice, so even if he denies the probe this time, I don't think we're going to see Grubby go for the same build. He might just go Robo.
Oh, building a second Stalker.
Yeah, he's chrono boosting those out because he wants to keep his Stalker count up. There is the tech choice for Inori. It's going to be Twilight Council before Robo. And I think he is going to go for that Blink Stalker Observer build for this map. Grubby, on the other hand, not showing anything yet, making 2 additional Stalkers here. And no tech choice whatsoever, just spending his gas on those Stalkers for now.
Adding another gate before bothering with the Robo. 2 more gates.
Yeah, he might be doing an aggressive 3 gateway Stalker push, adding the 4th one later on after Blink is done. This is an aggressive move here for Inori. He's actually going to potentially fake pylons here. One pylon does go down. Grubby targeting down the Zealot, though. His reinforcing Stalkers will allow him to hold this no problem.
Oh,
nice
wow.
micro by Grubby. Keeps the Stalker alive.
I was actually going to be very surprised if Inori was able to kill that one.
Oh, look at that. He even pulled it back. Wow, Grubby's so good.
Nice.
And meanwhile, Grubby did make his tech choice, which is going to, in fact, be Robo. And after that, pressure didn't... Ooh.
Oh, wow.
I said
well,
Robo, but I meant to say Twilight Council, and it's going to be Dark Shrine versus Inori going Blink Stalker Robo.
So, I mean, he's going to have the Observer in play.
Yeah, but if he only makes 1, which is pretty common with this build, it's going to be out of position. Grubby could still potentially do a lot of damage.
Yeah, because he's going to be using it offensively, basically waiting with all of his units over there. And now behind this, Grubby also goes for a Nexus.
Yeah, whenever you go for the DT build, you always want to make the Nexus because you need that backup plan. If you're going to kill your opponent's probes or kill some of his units, you usually don't win the game with it, but you do some sort of damage. So you need to have that Nexus to fall back on, that kind of like hard rock defense. Not defense, but like stability. You need that stability behind the DTs because the DTs alone are risky. And the question is, what will Inori do? Will he make only the one observer? Is he going to be really aggressive, or is he going to wait? He didn't see anything. He was denied his scout by Grubby's really good micro when he pushed out with those first few units. Basically, that aggressive play from Inori was basically designed to scout. Oh, look at this Grubby getting away with his forward panel. That means his DTs are going to be able to warp very far forward in here. The observer totally headed in the wrong direction right now, and no second one has been started here.
Yeah. I mean, he didn't have enough gas quite yet, and he looks like he's just saving his minerals to stay active with his Stalker warp-ins. Now, we've got the first DT being warped in over here from Grubby. He's got quite a significant amount of gas behind this now, but it's looking like this actually could potentially turn into a bit of a trade, because Grubby actually has nothing to defend against this.
Does Inori have a force field available?
Nope. He doesn't have any sentries.
Oh, man, this is really bad for him. Grubby, though, like you said, is going to struggle to defend, but all he needs to do is hold on a little bit longer. I wonder, is Inori actually going to go for this Nexus? Because I think that's a terrible choice. That's going to allow Grubby to do what he wants. So how much damage can this DT do? It looks like the answer is a lot. Killing so many probes. I feel Inori maybe even should be pulling probes right now. How many did he kill?
Oh. Wrong buttons.
Well, press E and then press Control R.
There we are.
So about 10 workers killed there, but he may just die.
Although after it
Look
was
at
the first probe there, now he doesn't have that many units left.
I think he's going to die, man. He spent too much gas. He also tried to expand.
Well, he didn't get, unfortunately, he just wasn't able to get the, like he didn't get an observer. You know, he doesn't have an observer of his own. Like if he was somehow able to stop Inori's observer. But now
couldn't use his DTs defensively because Inori had the observer with his army. More Stalkers warping in here, and Grubby is actually going to be 2-0'd here by Inori, choosing an interesting build, going for the DT expanded PvP, always a risk. Did not do that much damage with it, and had no answer for the Blink Stalker push that came out for Inori. I want to say almost a build order loss from Grubby. Things could have gone a little bit better for him, but it's basically a build order loss. GG, well played. Calls Grubby, and Inori will take him out 2-0 here and advance in the lower bracket.
Wow. All right. So there that goes. Grubby had a pretty good run, was able to get up into the top 12.
Yeah, kind of an anticlimactic finish for what he's done here, and I think even so, though, he's going to be happy with his results. He has looked really great this entire event, some of his strongest games I've ever seen from him.
Yeah. Played super well there. I mean, that was... Oh, well. You know, Inori just did so good. Like you were saying, you were. I mean, you pretty much called exactly what you thought Inori should do, and then
he did it, and he just executed it well. He didn't have an observer at home when the DTs came in, but he was able to get one out. He lost a few probes, but his aggression, since he was out in the middle map, if he had like hesitated for a second with his Stalkers, then Grubby would have been in a great position. Grubby would have been able to defend the Stalkers after he really got the powered up from that Nexus he had, but he was spread a little bit too thinly, and the aggression from Inori was too much for him.
Well, you know what's interesting to think about, too, is that I think that if Grubby had instead built, like, 3 DTs instead of 1, you can actually just kill that Robo before, like, the observer.
And he had the gas to do it, too. He hesitated. That was something I thought was a little bit weird. He wasn't supply blocked. He had a lot of gas banked up. And you even mentioned this when it was happening. It was like, well, kind of weird that he didn't do that.
I actually kind of want to see, you want to see that drop?
Yeah, we can load that up. Let's check that out really quick. I want to see that first drop that, you know, we didn't see earlier. Let me give you guys a perspective on like how Inori actually opened up with that drop. So we're just going to skip through this ×8, but we can actually even after this look even more closely at how much damage Inori was able to do in game 1 with that drop play. And in fact, what would be interesting to see as well is the first person's view of Grubby during those drops. See how stressed out he was, you know, like.
Not much point in that quite yet.
Yeah, not yet. Might give some people some seizures, but. So that's something I'm really curious to see. Maybe he was focused on something else.
Sound isn't so bad.
Yeah, maybe he was focused on something else when it was occurring. His focus was and attention was somewhere else, so he couldn't deal with the drops as well as he would have liked to. And here's the first Warp Prism now coming out for Inori.
Okay, if you still want to see live games, don't forget to get over to the central stream.
Yep.
There's matches happening over there.
Oh, so it's only one immortal. I thought it was
Well,
like
no,
two.
this was the first drop.
Yeah, the first one that we missed.
Oh, yeah,
right?
okay. Oh, see, and then he follows in with the Zealots, and then he's able to probably kill all of these Zealots.
This is
So
a
let's
pretty
actually
good trade
take a
for him.
look at this. Okay, so 3 workers, and forces some weapons.
Let's look at the units lost as well.
Yeah.
Okay, a little bit, not bad. It keeps Grubby in his base as well.
Yeah, I mean, it was still, yeah, still a positive trade for him.
Yep. Now, like, we can see later on what the drops start to really accomplish.
Yeah, we'll go back to it. So here's another one of those.
Yeah, we're just gonna speed ahead here. You guys already saw this. This was really annoying to deal with. He actually damaged the Nexus quite heavily here. Never was able to kill it, but it, again, forced Grubby to turn around. That's how Inori was able to secure his third. That was the only way Grubby would have killed it and forced to cancel no matter what if he didn't have this drop to deal with. So
Oh yeah, because Grubby easily could have gotten
easily
over
would
here
have
and
forced to
finished
cancel.
off.
So that was really cool.
Dude,
Nicely
the warp
done.
prisms, man. So
Now
good.
here's the
Okay.
part I think we're about to see warp prism going to the main. Oh, is that a warp prism
Nah.
outside of his base? What is that? Oh, it's
It's just one of his observers,
Okay.
yeah. They're slightly smaller.
This game was actually a lot longer than I remember. 30 minutes. So
Yeah, man.
A lot of
Game time.
harassment. Yep. Eventually we'll see that. I just want to see like how Grubby responds. I'm gonna take another look at that. Like, there's not much else to talk about in this game.
Yeah, I don't know. Inori did such a good job, like, picking him apart, giving him no way to possibly fight all those places at once. I mean, it's not even until after they each already have their 4th bases established, and
Yeah.
Inori even takes his 5th, so we've probably got another, like, 4 minutes.
Yep. But really smart decision making from Inori, taking a bad situation, making it into a good one. Here we go. Okay, so this is the Archon Immortal drop. Watch Grubby's viewpoint. I want to see like how he responds to this. Press C.
No, here.
Oh, okay, you can just click that also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he sees it happening. He sees the cannons warping in. And
This
then,
is when he pulls back.
right,
okay?
starts to move some of his units, but then I think that Inori forces
Yep.
the engagement in mid.
He's trying to say, he's like, oh, well, I can't send all these units back. He's trying to even still set up the concave, and he's losing so much in his main base
wow,
right
look
now.
how, like, bad any engagement could possibly be in his own base, because
Yep.
he really only has, like, small funnels to send his units in.
Yeah, and he's only able to warp in a few units at a time. He's still losing more and more, and he's got to deal with this. This is actually a really good engagement for Grubby, but he's still losing in his main base, some of his units. Yeah, very, very annoying position for Grubby, having to split his attention like this. I mean, even watching this is practically giving me a headache with like how much multitasking is required to make sure you don't die to a big attack in the middle, but also you defend in your main. And look at the resources right now. Inori with so much more money that
And
he can
also
start
taking
dumping
the
those
step.
into Zealots. And that's exactly what he's about to do
Okay,
here.
so this
Second
is
warp
where it
prism
starts
goes
getting
in.
crazy.
Yeah, this gets crazy.
So
Look at
he's
the
got
minimap.
drops happening both at his 3rd for a little bit, starts trying to move away, and then comes down into his natural as his main is also getting destroyed. I must have
Yeah,
clicked
so
on
you
the
can
map.
see like now like how he has to react to this. He's like seeing these units warp in, so he's trying to get his own units warping in. He's like, I don't have enough warp ins to deal with all this, and he's like, and you're
Oh.
attacking me right now. Like, what do I do? Like, it's crazy how the multitasking required here from Grubby against Inori's tactics, and now he also loses out in the middle because he sent so many units home. He warped in so many units at home rather than actually on the front lines. So now he's like spread too thin, not only in the center but also in his main. Look at the supply for Grubby just slowly start to plummet.
Yeah. Well, and then that will pretty much do it.
Yeah,
from
that's pretty
there,
much it.
Yeah, from there it ends up being a pretty one-sided game because Inori just did such a good job staying on top of that. So once again, congratulations to Inori in advancing 2-0 over Grubby. Yeah, we just want to take a look and see where that drop happened. Oh, man, Inori. Oh, yeah, that's right. Inori advances. He's going to have to play MC next. Is that on here? All right, so ladies and gentlemen, coming up next is going to be Inori versus MC. So be sure to stay tuned for more Major League Gaming Spring Arena 2 action. We've got more StarCraft 2 when we come back.